Sleepwalking homicides, 5 cases that will shock you. A murder can be committed for different reasons and under various circumstances. The perpetrator might be enraged or deranged, under the influence of alcohol, drugs, or an evil entity. Strangely, some people have committed murder while they were sleepwalking. Shocking? Watch these 5 sleepwalking homicide cases that can be too much to fathom for your senses. Number 5. Joseph Mitchell. It was more than 2 months away from Halloween, but on the night of September 22, 2010, Joseph Mitchell let terror reign in his house. Wearing a Halloween mask, he strangled to death his 4-year-old son Blake and attacked his teenage children Alexis and Devin, who luckily survived. The 50-year-old North Carolina native could have spent 43 years in prison for his crimes. But in 2015, Mitchell was unanimously found not guilty of murder and attempted murder by a jury because of his violent sleepwalking defense. An expert witness said he was likely to have been sleepwalking due to stress from financial problems and sleep deprivation when he killed Blake while effectively unconscious. Specifically, Mitchell suffered from non-rapid eye movement parasomnia, a sleep disorder that can cause sufferers to perform completely random acts unconsciously, according to health experts. Mitchell also claimed to have no recollection of the attack, making jury members decide for his acquittal. His ex-wife Christine Parolini can only exclaim, "I failed, I couldn't save Blake," upon hearing the verdict. Number 4. Kenneth Parks. On the early morning of May 24, 1987, Kenneth Parks, soaked in blood-stained clothes, drove to the nearest Ontario police station and confessed, "I think I've just killed 2 people." What seemed unbelievable was Parks wasn't aware of his crime and was even later acquitted because of his sleepwalking defense. The night before, Parks fell asleep while watching TV. When he woke up, rather than going back to bed, he grabbed his keys and drove 15 miles to the residence of his in-laws, Dennis and Barbara Woods, and did something truly unexpected. Parks, a brand new father at the time, grabbed a tire iron and a knife, then strangled and stabbed his father-in-law, after which he turned to Barbara and stabbed her too. While Dennis survived the attack, Barbara didn't. It was then that Parks turned himself in to authorities and faced a trial, wherein his doctor and 5 neurological experts testified and confirmed that Parks was sleepwalking and suffering from a sleep disorder when he murdered Barbara and injured Dennis. The case became controversial as Parks got an acquittal. Number 3. Jules Lowe. How could possibly a son relentlessly attack his 83-year-old father, resulting to 90 injuries to the old man's body, which eventually led to his untimely death? In October 2003, 32-year-old Jules Lowe from Manchester, England did just that after a heavy drinking session. He punched, kicked, and stomped on his poor old father, then made an inefficient cleanup before going to bed. A neighbor spotted the elderly man's body in the driveway of the Lowe's family home and called the police. Jules admitted committing the crime but didn't remember doing it. Nevertheless, he faced life imprisonment for his dad's murder. 9 months after the attack, Jules told his defense lawyers of his sleepwalking history. So he underwent the most detailed scientific tests in British legal history in a bid to recreate his reactions on the night of the killing. Based on expert evidence, the jury at Manchester Crown Court decided the attack took place while Jules was sleepwalking, in an automaton state and completely unaware of his own actions. Eventually, he was cleared of the murder charges by reason of insanity. Number 2. Simon Fraser. During the late 1800s, Simon Fraser from Glasgow, Scotland had been locked within a dream or nightmare, as if living completely in different circumstances while asleep. While in a state of wakeful unconsciousness, he committed offenses against his loved ones who suffered injuries. As a teenager, Fraser once beat up his father and attempted to strangle his sister while he was sound asleep. As an adult, Fraser's wife revealed that he once pulled her out of bed by her legs when he dreamt that he was saving her from a fire. But the most devastating of this nightmarish sleepwalking episodes occurred in the wee hours of April 10, 1878, when Fraser got out of bed, lifted his 18-month-old son, and smashed the toddler's head on the wall that killed him immediately. During the police investigation, Fraser admitted killing his helpless baby, but explained he was actually saving the baby from a savage creature in his dream, which turned out to be a nightmare. In the end, a jury decided that Simon, although sane, was not responsible for his horrendous actions. Number 1. Brian Thomas. Since childhood, Brian Thomas has been prone to sleepwalking and other sleep disorders which remained untreated for 50 years. Fortunately, the 59-year-old retired steelworker from South Wales has managed his condition and got married and built a happy family with his wife Christine and their 2 children. But Brian's night terrors changed all that in July 2008. The Thomas couple was on vacation in their camper van in the seaside village of Aberporth, West Wales, when Brian's sleep disorder was triggered by a group of rowdy racers at close to midnight. He dreamt about fighting a burglar in their camper van, a man with blue jeans and a black fleece lying on top of Christine. He grabbed the man around his throat, but was actually strangling to death his wife of 40 years. Brian woke up shaking, and his arm was under Christine. He rang the police for help and admitted the murder, but tearfully said, "I wouldn't, and didn't murder Christine. She's my world." Known as a devoted and decent husband, Brian was eventually acquitted, but advised to seek treatment. Enjoy an awesome video every single day by subscribing to Voodoo Channel and clicking that notification bell.